Once again, welcome everyone to our live webinar for purchase request functionality and approval flows. My name is Alina and I'm in charge of the customer success team here at Prokuria. I know you all have very busy schedules, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us. A few housekeeping items before we get started. My colleague Eugene and I will share with you today how Prokuria can help with a super customizable purchase request form. We'll explain the advantages of using a software for your purchase request, and also we will showcase a simple approval flow in Prokuria and then a more complex one. This should take us about 25 minutes, and at the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session for 5 minutes. Please feel free to ask questions through the chat at any point during the presentation. We will respond in the final part of the webinar, the Q&A session. If we'll not manage to address all your questions today, we'll make sure to come back to you by email. Also, we will get back to everyone with the recording of the webinar. Feel free to rewatch it, get back to us with questions, or share it with your colleagues. So, this being covered, we are ready to start the presentation. Eugene, you can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Alina. Hello, everyone. My name is Eugene, and I'm a business development manager at Prokuria. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join our webinar. We hope that you will find the information useful and helpful for your procurement-related needs going further. If you have joined this demo, you're probably starting to notice that organizing your sourcing events, purchase requests, POs, or your supplier database just with emails and Excel files isn't good enough or efficient anymore. Maybe you're looking for a system to help you stay on top of everything. Well, that's what Prokuria is. It's a cloud-based platform used for automating sourcing and supplier management, and today we'll focus on a very important subject related to the procurement process, which is the purchase request. And now let's go through the agenda of today's webinar, and I will shortly share my screen. So during today's webinar, we will first we'll have a short introduction, which I just did. After that, we will discuss some general information about the purchase request and the purchase request in Prokuria. Next, we will discuss about how to set up a product catalog in Prokuria. Basically, by setting up a product catalog, you can automate and simplify the purchase request flow even further. More on that on the section of the webinar. After that, we will learn how to set up a supplier directory in Prokuria, which is one of the most essential steps. And after that, as my colleague Alina said, we will have 2 case studies. The first one will be with a very simple approval flow, and the second case study will be with a more complex approval flow. And last but not least, we will have a Q&A session. And now let's go to the first topic of our webinar, which is the purchase requests. So basically, regarding the purchase requests, these purchase requests and the purchase orders or POs, which by the way we have covered in our last webinar, these are both key documents in an efficient procurement process for any business. They allow teams to plan purchases adequately, plan budgets, and provide proof of spending in case of financial audits. A purchase request is a document that an employee within your organization creates to request the purchase of goods or services. In some cases, some companies require a purchase request for purchases going over a set amount or require additional approvals when going over the set amount. This is a situation which we will discuss later on in the webinar. Additionally, the accounting department uses this document to plan for future spending. It's much easier to avoid costly mistakes if you check the budget prior to approving a purchase. Purchase requests detail out all the details of an order that your organization needs to make. So, well, why not just skip the purchase request and go straight to the purchase order? Well, we thought for starters we thought of 3 main reasons, and I will shortly share my screen and show you what are these reasons. First of all, they help establish a very clear procurement process. By rerouting permission to purchase to a common manager using purchase request forms, you can streamline your organization's pipeline. The process is much easier to manage and formalize when there are clear rules for who can purchase what and when. The second reason is that they help detect and prevent fraud in your organization. The more steps involved in the procurement process, the more likely someone will sniff out a fraudulent purchase if it does happen. And last but not least, they give finance more direct control over purchasing. If someone from outside of the department needs to purchase something, they can fill out a purchase request and submit it to the head of purchases. This way, the same department oversees every purchase your organization makes. And now, more details on the purchase request. Basically, when using manual purchase request workflows, there is a high margin for human error and miscommunications as it passes through numerous hands. There is also a lack of transparency as the requisition process progresses through the workflow. If a problem or delay occurs, companies can struggle to track down the location of the issue and diagnose the solution. Because it is vital for a business to keep the purchasing process moving, smart companies turn to technology to become more accurate, efficient, save time and money. With the purchase requisition software, such as Prokuria, for example, employees can create requests from any location using internet-enabled devices. Instead of filling out raw forms, staff can choose from pre-populated, customized templates and then submit just by clicking a button. In Prokuria, customization is the name of the game, and this is true of purchase requests as well. You can customize your own purchase request forms, define the catalogs of products or services that departments order so that you can automate further and save more time, and define your own approval flows. You can define the number of approvers, when they need to approve, etc. Everything is up to you and your company's workflow. But more details on this later on in the webinar. And now it is time to move on to the next section of our webinar, which is how to set up a product catalog in Prokuria. Basically, by setting up a product catalog, you can automate and basically simplify the purchase request flow further by having all the various members of different departments effectively choosing the products or services they wish to request from a predefined list. So you can automate the process even more. And to show you how to create a product catalog, we'll just go to our platform. And for anyone who hasn't seen the platform before, this is the main dashboard of Prokuria. And regarding the catalog, we have already created one, which is just a very basic example, and we'll just run you through it. So all of the columns that you see here, as I was saying, in Prokuria, customization is key. So we can define all of these columns. We can create new ones. We can delete some of the existing ones if we do not need them. So the key takeaway from here is that the catalog can have all of the criteria as defined as per your needs and as per your company's flows, methodologies, and terminologies. So here we can effectively sort, filter by any criteria, for example, from the category. And it's also very easy to, let's say, add new fields or delete some existing ones. Let's say that we do not need to have the owner of each product in this catalog. This can be done by simply customizing this view. We'll just deselect this field, and it will simply go away. So it is very easy to customize it according to your needs and based on the information you need to have at your disposal in this catalog, from which we will take all the products or services and use them to create the purchase requests. In order to fill in that field again, we'll just simply put the owner back, which again is quite a very simple process. In order to add new items to the catalog, we can either add them one by one with this add button, or if we have most companies have numerous items in their catalog, we can do it with an import with Excel functionality. Essentially, what we'll do is we will download a template spreadsheet, and after that we will fill it in, and all the items will populate automatically. I already have an Excel file prepared for this example, and once I upload the Excel, we see now that we have added 3 new items to the catalog, which are in the services category. So if in the beginning I had only products from office supplies, computer accessories, and so on, we can also add here. I have also added some services and with a new owner. So as I was saying, you can add all the items that you want, categorize them however you need. We can also add subcategories if you want to go more granular into the catalog. So this is essentially how catalogs function in Prokuria. Now that we have defined how catalogs can be created and how they function, I think it is time to go to the next section of our webinar, which is how to set up your supplier directory in our platform. And for this, again, we will go back to our platform, to Prokuria. Setting up a supplier directory is an essential step, as through the procurement flow, the purchase request will turn to purchase orders after the approval flow, which these purchase orders will be sent to various suppliers. So in this section of the webinar, I will show you how to add your suppliers to Prokuria, essentially preparing your account for a healthy procurement flow. So we organize all our suppliers in what we call a supplier directory located here. And this is the main view of the supplier directory. As in the case of the catalog, all the fields that you are seeing here are again fully customizable. We can add new ones according to your needs. You can delete some of them, so you can capture here all the necessary information that you want from your suppliers. Obviously, here we can, as in the catalog, we can search. For example, I want to search for one particular supplier. I will simply find it through the search bar. I can sort, filter by any criteria that I have here. So also, let's say I want to add some additional information here. Again, I will simply customize. Let's say that I want to see exactly when each of the suppliers have been added to the platform. I'll just add this column here, and it will simply appear here. I can very easily change the order of these columns. So let's say that I want to have this column right before the name, and it will effectively change immediately. So it's very easy to customize the view of the supplier directory. Or we can simply let's say ditch this field entirely. And we can also modify these columns to suit our needs. We can save this new view. So this is how the supplier directory functions. And in order to add new suppliers to Prokuria, there are essentially two main ways. We can add them either one by one by clicking the Add Supplier button, or as in the case of the catalog, we can do an import with Excel. So we can download an Excel template, which again we will need to fill in with all the information of the suppliers, and after that we will just upload the file. I have already prepared a file for this example, so I will just add my new suppliers to Prokuria. I will click on Add Items, and as we see, our list has been our supplier directory has been populated with five more suppliers. So this is how the supplier directory functions, and this is how you add your suppliers to Prokuria. Obviously, when first working with Prokuria and first importing your suppliers, our customer success team will be at your disposal to help you with this process if needed. Now I think it is time to go on to the next step of our webinar, which is the first case study. So now we will go and see exactly how purchase requests are created. So for the first case study, we will have a very simple approval flow, and for this, let's go back to the platform, and now we will go to the purchase request section, where this is the main view of where we can see all our purchase requests. Again, all of these fields are fully customizable. They can be sorted, filtered. We can search for any purchase request that we need. And we can also add other information here, other criteria as per our needs, in order to have a very clear track of all the purchase requests and all the metrics that come with them. And now, in order to showcase the first example of a very simple approval flow, I will simply add a new purchase request, and I will guide you through it. So let's say that we want to make a purchase request for office supplies and stationery. The fields that you're seeing here are just part of a very basic example of a purchase request, just for you to understand just to understand the basic principle of how they function and how they work. We have here a requisition name, by whom it has been created, when the purchase request has been created, if we want to make it urgent or not. We can also add, for example, some comments for the approvers or for the purchasing department to take note of. And I'll just add here one comment, and after that, I would like to show you how to add new fields to this to the first section, to the requisition details. And this can be done very simple through our let's say our backend instrument, which is called an app designer, and it is very easy to use and to add a new field. I will simply showcase how this works. Let's say that we want to add a new department. We want to see the department in which for which the purchase request has been done. I will simply add this field, and I'll show you shortly how it looks like. So I'll just make here I will make a quick field, which will be a top-down single select. Let's just put some options here. Let's just call them very generically department 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, we can put whatever departments you require. And after that, after everything has been done, I'll just save, and I'll just go back to my purchase request, which I just created, and I will now see the department. And now I will simply, any requester will be able to choose its own department, just so the purchasing department can keep a very clear track of all the purchase requests and where they come from, and have a very clear audit log of all the purchase requests that have been logged. So after the requisition details, we will have the approver section, where in this very basic example, with a very basic flow, we will have only one approver. So in this very simple example, we will select the approver. However, we can make it so that we can automate this process, so the approver will be taken automatically from the system. We see that the status of the approver, so the purchase request has not been sent yet to approval. And then we have the purchase request items, where we will simply select all of the items that we want to request. We can do this in 3 ways. We can either add them one by one by filling in all of the information here. Obviously, we can also delete some of the items. We can add them from a file. So as in the case of the catalog and the supplier directory, we can use an Excel template and fill it in with all of the items. Or, as we will do it right now, we will simply add the items that we want to buy from the catalog that I've just shown you. So I said that I want to do I want to add some office supplies. So I want to do a requisition of some office supplies. I'll just select some of the items here. And I also want to add some stationery. So again, I will select the category of stationery. I'll just select some of the items here. And all of the items are populated automatically. Obviously, all of these fields are, again, fully customizable. We can, add other fields or delete some of them according to how you want your purchase request to look like, and according to whatever information you want this purchase request to contain. Now, I will need, as a requester, I'll need to put in the quantities that I want to acquire, and let's say I want to put the same quantity for all of the items, and I can do this by using the bulk actions functionality. I'll just select all of the items. I will just select the field that I want to modify. Let's say I want to buy 50 of each, and after that, what will happen is essentially I will just it will fill in with all the quantities. We also had the prices in the catalog, and the total value is a field which is what we call a calculated field. It is the quantity times the price, and after that, in this field here, the purchase request, a total amount, we see actually the total amount of the purchase request. When all of this information has been filled in, as I said, this will be just a very simple approval flow. The requester will send this purchase request to approval by clicking on this button, the Send to Approval button. And what will happen is, in the beginning, the status of the approver will modify. It will be sent to approval. And what will happen is the approver will receive an email notification, which looks like this. We can modify the text here, also the body and the subject. And the approver will click on the link, and will be redirected to the purchase request, where he will have the option to approve or reject. For the time being, let's just approve. And we see that the status of the approver has changed to approved. And now that the requisition is approved, the procurement manager will receive an email notification that a new purchase request has been approved. And what they can do is they can view this purchase request, and they have this button of generating the POs. However, first, what the procurement manager needs to do is assign the suppliers for each of the items, as we will have a PO for each supplier. So let's say that we want the office supplies to be bought from one supplier, which I will select right now. And let's say that I want the stationery to be bought from another supplier, as we have a different contract with them. Let's suppose for this example. So I'll just choose the other supplier. And what will happen is after I have chosen all the suppliers for all of the items and everything is in order, we have all the approvals, we have all the items, the procurement manager will simply click on the generate POs button, and what this will do is will generate as many POs as it can find in the supplier list. So now that we have two suppliers, what will happen is in our PO section we will find essentially two new POs, one for stationery and one for office supplies. And from here, the procurement manager can go into these POs, which are part of our new functionality, the interactive POs, which have been the subject of our last webinar last month. So this has been a very simple case study of a very simple approval flow. And now I think it's time to go to the next section of the webinar, which is the second case study with a more complex approval flow. And for this, we will go and create another purchase request, a very similar one. However, this time the scenario will be as follows. All the purchase requests valued below 10,000 euros require only one approval, but the purchase requests over this amount, so over 10,000 euros, require a second approval from the financial director. Let's say. I will simply create this. I'll simply create a new purchase request with the same information. I'll just select the department. I'll select one approver, and after that I will select the purchase request items. Let's say that we want to buy the same items, however, we would like to buy them for the entire organization, let's say, and that's why we will buy some bigger quantities, which I will modify right now. So we have the items, and after that, let's put in some bigger quantities. So let's say we want to buy 5,000 of each, just as an example. So now we will see that the total amount is quite higher than 10,000 euros, and as such we have now a second approver that has appeared here, and we will need to receive the approval of the second approver as well before the purchase request can go and create POs from there. So again, we'll just assign here an approver, which can be assigned automatically. And after that, when we have everything here, what will happen is the the requester will send this to approval. The approver, the first approver will again, each approver will receive an email notification being informed that they need to approve this purchase request. So they will again click on this button and be redirected to the purchase request here. And let's say that I also want, as an approver, I want to modify some quantities here. So what I will do as an approver, I will just go and edit one of the products. So let's say I want to put this quantity, and I want to inform the stakeholders of this change. In the comment section, I will simply tag one of the stakeholders, and I will inform them that quantity for paper trays has been changed from 5,000 to 4,000, just to have a very clear track of all the changes that have been done on the purchase request and to ensure full transparency. My colleague will be notified of this message and can log in and confirm these changes. Once I have done all my changes, I will simply approve, and we see that my colleague has also approved. So we have now both approvals from both of we have approvals from both the approvers. And what will happen is, again, the procurement manager will be notified via email of these changes, and can again generate the POs after creating the suppliers, after assigning each product to the suppliers. Let's just assign the items again to their respective suppliers. We'll just make again, let's say that we have two suppliers for this purchase request. As I said, we need to have each PO needs to have its own supplier. So we'll just use this. We also see here in the comment section that my colleague Alina has acknowledged the changes that I have done. So again, we can discuss with the stakeholders any changes. And as in the previous case, the procurement manager will simply generate the POs, which will appear in the PO section. And this has been, let's say, the second case study where we had a more complex approval flow. However, as stated in the beginning, Prokuria is highly customizable, and we can customize the platform in order to suit any approval flow that you already have existing in your company and you would like to replicate in Prokuria. So once the POs have been generated, we will see them here in draft. This is just a very simple. It's a quick view of how the PO looks, how the interactive PO looks, and if you want to learn more about the PO, you can simply check our last webinar on our YouTube channel, or you can simply contact us on by our contact form on prokuria.com. So now that we've covered also the second case study, I think it's time to move on to the Q&A session. However, just before the Q&A section, I would like to let you know that in order to test and experience what we've just shown you and more, we have a 2-week free trial that you can access on our site, www.prokuria.com. Just click on Start Free Trial, no credit card required. Simply test the platform, see if it's a fit for you, and if you want to go more in-depth or have any questions, we can schedule another demo with you and your team. Simply contact us via the contact form on our website and we'll be in touch. Now, Alina, let's see what questions we have from the audience.
Thank you, Eugene, for the great presentation and for showing us the purchase request and how it works in Prokuria. We have some questions. I'm really anxious to read them and to respond. So first one goes like this. We have our own system for the product catalog with more than 1,000 items. How can we build this in your system? So basically, how can you build a catalog with lots of items in Prokuria? Eugene, I'll take this one if it's okay with you.
Sure thing.
Okay. So for such a large number of items, obviously we cannot add the items one by one. We have other two options, and first one will be the most used by our clients. We basically create in Prokuria all the fields of your items catalog, and then you can use the import with Excel functionality. You download the template spreadsheet with all the fields, you fill in the items, and then you import them back in Prokuria. However, there is a second option as mentioned, and this is about Prokuria that supports API connectivity, and we can connect our system to Prokuria, your system to Prokuria, so we can bring all your data into our system. This is a more tech discussion, and if the case, someone from our technical team can join a meeting and explain and offer all the details. So I hope I've answered the question. Moving forward, we have a second one, and it's about what do you mean by interactive PO? And I think it will be great, Eugene, if you can just share the screen again and the example a little bit.
Yes, sure thing. So I'll take this one if it's okay with you. So regarding the interactive PO, let me just showcase this real quick. So I'll just take one of the POs that I already have in the system. Let's say that we have a PO related to office supplies with some of the items. What we will do is we will send this PO to the supplier. Obviously, we can implement some approval flows here. So the principle is the same as with the purchase request. And after we get all of the approvals, we will simply send the PO to the supplier using this button. What will happen is the supplier will receive an email notification, which looks like this. And all the supplier needs to do here is click on this button, on the view PO button, and they will be redirected to the actual PO. which is not like a PDF or something, like an uneditable file. It's a web page to which they have access. From here, there are multiple functionalities that can be employed. So, for example, the supplier can communicate with the buyer via the message center, where he can send any type of messages to the supplier, to the buyer. For example, quantities for some item not available. So we can inform the buyer that some quantities of some items are not in stock. So this way we can just adjust on the buyer side. We can just adjust the quantities on the fly. We don't need to modify the PO, change the PDF, and then resend it. Everything can happen in real time. And also, what the supplier can do here is, after checking all of the items, he can add the invoices directly through this system. So it's quite interactive, and you don't need to send them via email or any other mediums. You can just attach the invoices here. I'll just add the file. We can put here some note, for example, 15% payment in advance required. Let's say we can also add the packing list if we want, or we can just ditch this field entirely. And after the supplier saves this, you as a buyer are notified via email that you have received a new invoice. And if we go back on the buyer side, which I've just did, we will see on the PO the new invoice in this section here. So, as I said, this is part of our interactive PO functionality, and it's very easy to communicate with the supplier, and the supplier can communicate with you real quick, share the information real quick. So you just let's say save a lot of time with this. And I hope this has answered the question.
Yes, it's great. I'll take one more question because it's really interesting and is related to the first one. It goes like this. Could the Prokuria system be linked with the inventory module from an ERP in order to pre-check internally the availability of the articles before issuing the purchase requisition or before launching the purchase order? The answer to this is yes, definitely we can do that. As mentioned earlier, via API connectivity, we can bring the inventory levels in Prokuria and link it to the products from the purchase requisition. This way you can check in real time if you will fulfill the request from inventory or you actually need to order. Okay. I hope I've answered the question. It's a common question when our customers have in place an ERP. We've reached the time dedicated for the webinar. I know we have some more questions. We'll make sure to come back to you by email to each of you with the answer. Thank you once again for being part of this webinar. I hope you will find it useful. Again, have a great day, all of you, and we will send you the recording. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.